What's going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. We're gonna be talking about why you keep getting injured. Pretty much my whole college wrestling career. It was ankles, knees, shoulder, elbow, back, you name it. And this held me back from being able to achieve my goals personally. But what I noticed when I was going through this pain and injury cycle is that I wasn't alone. I noticed that my teammates who were also going through the same exact thing as I was. And like many of them, I even considered giving up on wrestling altogether, because I questioned if it was even possible for me to continue. After my MCL, LCL, meniscus injury, after separating my left shoulder, after tweaking my back multiple times, I started to question like, hey, is this even worth it? But instead of giving up, I decided that I was gonna figure out why I kept getting injured. I decided that I was gonna search for answers, because I couldn't help but feel that there had to be a better way to recover from my injuries. Now, personally, I went to the trainer for every single injury that I had when I was in college. And they told me the same exact thing every single time. Yeah, ice and stim, do these planks, do these bird dogs, right? And guess what happened? I kept getting injured. So at a certain point, I started to do my own research, and I said, you know what? Obviously, this is not working. So there has to be a better way. And that's led me to the point that I'm at today, where I work with athletes from high school to college and even Olympians to help them recover from injuries and become more athletic than they were before they got injured. So to answer today's question, why you keep getting injured, you need to first understand the pain and injury cycle. If you've ever gone through an injury or maybe even multiple injuries, you've definitely experienced the pain and injury cycle. So it all starts with psychological stress. When you get injured, you feel that psychological stress, your mind starts racing. You start going through all of these different thoughts and emotions because of the injury. Now, the second step is pain. You feel that physical pain of the injured body part, that torn ligament, that torn tendon. You feel it physically. When you feel that pain and your mind is stressed, it leads to the muscles getting tight to protect themselves, right? So then your muscles get tight because they're trying to guard themselves from a more serious injury, from further injury. And then what happens is you lose range of motion. So your range of motion becomes restricted. You're no longer able to move as freely as you would have before the injury. The issue with this is that when your range of motion becomes restricted, your muscles become weaker because they can no longer produce force through that same range of motion that they once could. And when your muscles become weaker, they atrophy, right? They lose size and strength, ultimately leading to decreased function. So now you are tighter than you were, you're weaker than you were, and you can't function the way that you could have before the injury. Now, if you've gone through this, there's a choice that you have. You can either choose to accept that as your reality and say, you know what, I got a bum knee. That was the end of my career as an athlete. Oh, I got a bad shoulder. That's it for me. Or you can choose to break out of the pain and injury cycle. You can choose to look for answers and become a better athlete than you were before you got injured. And if you don't think that's possible, I'm living proof. I'm literally proof. And I was told by so many doctors that after I injured my knee, I would never be the same athlete. I was told that I needed to get surgery, that I'd never be able to wrestle again. And here I am doing that every single day, which is why I'm so passionate about this topic, because I know the psychological stress that you go through. I know the pain that you go through. I know what it's like to literally feel your muscles lock up and to lose that range of motion that you once had. And I believe that as humans, we all deserve to have freedom over our bodies. We all deserve to have the ability to do the things that we love to do with our bodies. So I'm here to show you how to get out of the pain and injury cycle. So it's very simple. As you can see, there's 6 steps that keep you in pain. So all we have to do is simply reverse the things that got us stuck in that cycle, right? So for example, psychological stress. How can we minimize psychological stress, right? It all starts in the mind. So what are you doing right now to help keep your body and mind calm? Most PTs typically only focus on the body. They only focus on the physical side of injury. But what they don't realize is that injury is very much psychological. Like, I know the exact thought loop I got stuck in when I tore my knee, and the exact same thoughts that came back into my head when I tore it again. Oh my God, why does this always happen to me? Oh, my knee is just bad. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I worked so hard and for what? Those are all mental loops that we can get stuck in after an injury. So in order to break out of that cycle, it's very important for you to be in tune with your mind and to not identify with any of those thoughts. In my personal experience, what's helped me break out of that cycle is meditation and breath work. Because when you tap into your mind, when you tap into your breath, you're able to center yourself. You're able to remove yourself from those thoughts and realize that just because they pop into your head doesn't mean that they're true. Once you're able to differentiate yourself from those negative thoughts and negative emotions, you can then confront pain for what it really is, which is just a feeling in your body. Pain is not positive or negative. It's just something that you experience. It's a sign from the body. But if you automatically go into that negative psychological thought loop, the moment you feel any type of pain, you are gonna keep yourself in this cycle for much longer than you need to. So once we can confront pain and realize that pain is nothing more than a sensation and that it's not positive or negative, we can then move on to addressing the next two elements of the pain cycle, which are muscle guarding and restricted range of motion. Now these go hand in hand, right? When your muscles try to protect themselves, they lock up, they get tight. That leads to restricted range of motion. Here's where most PTs get it wrong. When I was in PT, and I went to multiple PT places when I was in college, when I was dealing with my injuries, what they do is they have you do these drills with the bands, they have you do your planks, they have you do your bird dogs, working on core stability, right? Everything is about stability. But what happens when you only focus on stability? When I'm holding a plank, I'm not actually moving. There is no range to the motion. So how am I improving the restricted range of motion? I'm not. So in order to regain that range, you have to train it. Now, I'm not saying that you should jump right into a full flat ground split squat, because most people can't handle that, even when they're not injured. You need to find the range of motion that you can handle pain-free. Now, over time, that's gonna help you rebuild the tendons and that capacity within the joint so that it's greater than it was before you got injured. And once you've rebuilt that range of motion, you need to focus on rebuilding that muscle. Think about muscle as armor around your body. When I talk about being a weaponized athlete, it's because I literally rebuilt the armor around the joints that were once injured in my body. So when you're thinking about rehabbing an injury, you are literally, think about Tony Stark, Iron Man, rebuilding the muscle, the armor around your joints so that you are stronger than you were before you got injured. Once you've added that muscle to the injured joint, the injured area, we need to restore function. So this is where coiling core training, landmine training, all these different movements that you guys see me use with my athletes come into play perfectly, because our body is designed to move in a certain way, okay? And if we go to PT and all we do are our planks or our stir the pot on the yoga ball, we're not actually improving the quality of our movement. We're not improving the way our body functions. With the coiling core exercises, what we're doing is teaching our body how to move again the way it was designed to. And when you move with that natural fluidity, you're able to take stress and pressure off of the joints to keep you healthy long term. Awesome, guys. I hope this was helpful for you to understand why you've been stuck in this cycle of pain and injuries. I know this was something that held me back personally for years, and it means the world to me to be able to share this information with other people and help them break out of the cycle and get back to doing the things that they love. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, stay weaponized.